Hello, I'm Investigator Gabe Marquez with the California Highway Patrol.
I'm Detective Lou Coven from the Los Angeles Police Department.
In the next 10 minutes, Lou and I are going to give you training on how to identify stolen construction equipment.
So let's go look at some equipment.
This is the Bobcat, model 863. It's popular on many construction sites, and it has distinctive colors, white and orange. Typically, these vehicles have identification plates on the left inside of the vehicle. The newer S-Series model has the identification plate on the left outside. One of the reasons this piece of equipment is so popular is because of its many attachments. Lou's going to give us some information on that.
As Investigator Marquez mentioned to you previously, the Bobcat has numerous attachments. There are over 30 attachments that you can get for a Bobcat. These attachments include grapple buckets, hydraulic breakers, two different styles here. You have a forklift attachment back here, and you have two different types of buckets, smooth and tooth bucket. They come in a variety of sizes. You may want to look at those things because some of those parts have serial numbers on them that can be identified or owner applied numbers. Now we'll go back to Gabe for some additional on the Bobcats.
Usually the first piece of identification that goes is the dealership sticker. Crooks take this sticker off because they don't want police to identify where this piece of equipment came from. Another piece of information you can use is the decal model number. Make sure that this model number matches the plate and the model number on the plate. Another piece of information you can use is the owner applied number that comes from the dealership. If you call the dealership with this information, they can give you a serial number for this piece of equipment. Okay. Lou has a piece of equipment that we need to look at. It's often stolen. Let's go over and talk to him.
Next piece of equipment we're going to look at is a mini excavator. This one made by Bobcat has a serial number plate on the front. If you don't find it on the right front, then look on the left front. Also look for identification numbers that have been placed on there by the equipment rental company. They come in a variety of sizes and models. Here's the model number right here. Bobcat also has one key that works all of their equipment. Put the key in, turn it on, and you're ready to go. Now we'll take a look at some trailers. Although sometimes equipment is driven on the street, most times it will be trailered. This is a heavy-duty trailer made by Zeman. If you look up on the front, you'll find a vehicle identification number that you can use with the year of the vehicle. Down below is an owner-applied number that can also help you identify this. On the other side, Gabe's going to show you something.
Zeman rolls a small plate here on the right side of the chassis. And this plate has a 7-digit number that matches the last 7 on the VIN plate. If you find this welded plate missing, you need to investigate further as it may be stolen. There's also another piece of identification that we can use to identify stolen equipment. Why don't we walk over this way? Occasionally, construction equipment is registered. Typically this is done with a special equipment plate. To run this for a registration record, you need to remove the S and put the E and the following numbers in the license field. Put the S in the license type field. To run this as for a stolen record in the stolen vehicle system, leave the SE and the numbers in the license field. We moved on to the Caterpillar line of construction equipment. What we have here is a Caterpillar skid steer loader. Lou's going to help us ID this piece of equipment.
On this particular Caterpillar skid steer loader, we have a product identification number on this plate right here with a stamp number just above it. Now let's move on to another location on a pin plate. On this loader, the pin plate is behind the driver's head on the left side. Gabe?
Okay. You'll find that this plate is attached with an adhesive. In approximately 2003, Caterpillar stopped using the rivets that it had been using before. Like Bobcat, Caterpillar also makes a series of attachments for its loaders. What we have here is a very good example of the pin plates that Caterpillar puts on its attachments, and also the style of rivets that Caterpillar uses. You also notice that there's an owner applied number. The dealership has placed this number on here to help it identify this piece of equipment. Also here is the Caterpillar logo. This will let you know that this piece of equipment was made by Caterpillar and that they can use these numbers to help you identify this piece of equipment. Why don't we go on and look at some backhoes?
All right, now we're going to look at a Caterpillar backhoe loader. Again, on the front bucket you'll find the Caterpillar logo. On the front of the machine you'll see a dealer's sticker that's been attached for identification purposes. We have the model number on the arms, and back here we have the product identification number on a plate on the left side of the machine. In the number contained is the model number that will match on the arms up here. Now we're going to go over to Gabe for some additional features.
One thing Caterpillar has done for us is they've repeated a laser etching of the pin number on the right side. If it's not here, it should be very adjacent to the pin plate itself. You'll also notice that there's a 17-digit number, because this number will not conform to VIN standards similar to automobiles. The vehicle also has a plate on the bucket. This number can also help us to trace back its owner. Okay, why don't we go take a look at some wheel loaders?
This large piece of equipment is a Caterpillar wheel loader 950. It's articulated, which means basically it bends in the middle. We found 6 identifying numbers on this vehicle. We have an additional plate that's been put on by Cat there. We've got the original factory plate, which has the product identification number. Below that in red is the stamp number, and up here is a handwritten number. This vehicle is worth over $248,000. Gabe's going to show you some additional identifying features.
Again, we have the model number, 950G. We have a Quinn rental sticker with a telephone number. If all the other pieces of identification have been removed, this would be a good place to start. As with Lou, the grease marking over there, we find the last 5 of the serial number repeated right below the rental sticker number. Okay. This is a good place to start with Caterpillar to help ID this piece of equipment. Why don't we go to John Deere and take a look at some equipment there?
This is a John Deere backhoe loader. As you can see, the dealership has applied their decal for identification purposes on the front. The model number is on the arms, and back here we have the product identification number, the PIN, on the vehicle itself with the serial number. If the serial plate has been removed with John Deere, you'll find the number stamped on the frame behind the plate. The dealership has also installed a shop number on the vehicle for identification purposes. Up here we have something we haven't seen before. We have the Crime Prevention of Southern California's decal. That means that there are additional markings on the vehicle for identification purposes. Gabe will show you those markings.
Because this dealership is a crime prevention member, we should expect to find the driver's license of one of the employees stamped into the machine itself. Here we find a stamping on the backhoe. We also find a stamping on the machine itself. You should expect to find it on various parts of this piece of equipment. These stampings are very important. When all other pieces of identification have been removed, this type of numbering is invaluable to law enforcement. Why don't we go take a look at another piece of equipment?
We hope this training video has been helpful for you today. We want to encourage you to look at more equipment when you're out on the road. Look for the serial numbers. Look for the owner applied numbers. Look for the decals when you're trying to identify this equipment. Remember, if the vehicle has tracks or wheels, it's going to go on the CHP 180 or your department's vehicle theft report and enter it into the stolen vehicle system.
If that stolen piece of equipment doesn't have tracks or wheels, that stolen piece of equipment needs to be entered into the automated property system as a stolen piece of equipment. The main thing to remember when attempting to identify heavy equipment is your safety. Don't put yourself in a position to be hurt. I'm Gabe Marquez.
I'm Detective Lou Coven. We want to thank the following people today for their help with this video. Cook Equipment Rentals,
Quinn Machinery,
Coastline Equipment.
Call the numbers on your screen for assistance in investigations involving heavy equipment theft.